Hey, Pastor Daniel here. We're upstairs at Swaney Swift's on the square in Gallatin. Y'all may know that we've had a few interest dinners here. They've been really great to us, and we just wanted to get together today. Tim and I were having a few conversations. Obviously, leading up to the launch, we spent a lot of time together. We've talked about how God has just been evident through this whole thing. And Tim is serving still in Goodlettsville. He's been there for
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
I lose track of time so fast. I've been in Goodlettsville for 5 years, believe it or not. And as the lead pastor of both Goodlettsville and Gallatin, we just wanted to kind of sit down today and have a conversation about how God really cast this vision. And why don't we actually go back, Tim? Tell us a little bit about how you were called to serve at the church in Goodlettsville.
You know, I was in a really great church, and I loved it, and I've been there for 14 years. I just felt God was calling me to Goodlettsville Church because I could just sense in their DNA a desire to grow. Although the church is this year 175 years old,
Yep.
you could just tell that they were willing to do whatever God called them to do, and that's what we've seen. And so in this 175 years, we've stepped out and done something just kind of really out of the ordinary for a church like that.
Right.
You know, when I used to come down through Gallatin all the time and just been amazed by the growth, and even since I've been here in 8 years, it's phenomenal how much the town has grown, especially in the part of town where the campus is located.
Yeah.
Down in the southern part of town. And you know, there's great churches all over Gallatin. We're certainly not in competition. We support them and encourage them. But there's really not a church quite like us. And from our home churches, you can tell we just have a great DNA. It used to be called a fantastic church, friendliest church in town. People are they're humble, they're kind, they're gracious, and they genuinely love the Lord and love each other. And so we major on those big things, and the little stuff we don't sweat as much. And you can just tell the Lord's blessed us with growth, and now we're able to spread that here in Gallatin, and we're excited about that.
One of the things that I've learned in serving through ministry, and a quote from Tom Rainer that I really enjoy is, staff your church for the change that you want to see. And when Tim first came to Goodlettsville, I know that he really pushed a vision for children and youth ministry, hence my being hired as the youth pastor, and Tammy Sykes, who's been with our church longer than both of us.
Right.
I mean, 15 years probably, from early childhood to Promised Land Kids now. Talk a little bit about why it's so important for both of our campuses to pour into the lives of families, and we use the Orange curriculum. Tammy's great. Just talk a little bit more about that for us.
Well, you know, our heart is to help families raise kids up in the way they should go. That's
right.
really our heart. And our older people said, we'll give to that end, we'll serve to that end, we'll sacrifice our wants and our desires. I'm going to tell you, God works through a group of people like that.
Amen.
And so we've invested heavily. The biggest chunk of our budget goes to our children's and our youth ministry. And obviously, you've done a great job. We've got your help now with Briley. And Tammy's got 3 people who help her out.
right.
We've got a ton of volunteers, beautiful facilities. We've even been able to work in the skate zone to bring that facility up to where it's a really great place for kids. And
right.
so, you know, our folks said it's not okay that children and young families are growing up without Christ. And so they've done what it takes to make sure that doesn't happen.
We've seen that change in Goodlettsville. Definitely in the 8 years, the 5 years that I've been, 8 years you've been there, 5 years I've been there, and I know that we're going to see that in Gallatin. I mean, just this first launch, we had 180 present, from volunteers to people who I say do double church, you know, went to Goodlettsville and came to Gallatin, but really about 100 brand new people, and most of those were young families. We had almost 30 between the nursery, the preschool, and Promised Land, and I just think that's a huge number. We want to see families come. We want to see children saved, because as a youth pastor, and you know this too, statistically, by 11, 12 years old, if they're not accepting or knowing who Christ is, it's hard to train up a child in the way they should go after that time.
The chances of them coming to Christ really drops.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things I love about our church is intergenerational.
Amen.
And I don't know, I know you're quite a bit younger than me, but I know that you have created with your family friendships with people in their 70s.
Oh yeah.
That you value. I value those relationships, and I'm kind of in that middle now where I've got relationships above me and below me. But that's one of the beautiful things I saw Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely.
People of all ages there and just loving on each other, and really that's what the family of God looks like.
Well, I know we've already kind of touched on it, but I did want to also talk. I know that you and I talked, gosh, it seems like 2 years ago now, about just the what ifs. what if we could start a second campus? You know, we did a little bit of stuff in Goodlettsville by changing our service time to be earlier and having what we call community groups after our morning worship, so that we could start to maybe just dream about a second service. And at that time, we didn't know if that would be on our Goodlettsville campus or anywhere else, but kind of start, again, starting 2 years ago, having those conversations, praying and seeking what God would want. Lead us through like what that looked like for you.
I tell you, it's been amazing affirmation how God has unfolded all this, and Sunday was the best affirmation of all. But you know, we see all this growth in Gallatin and Long Hollow, and rather than asking people to come into Goodlettsville, we said, why don't we just start a second service at another location? And that's exactly what we've done.
Right.
And we were very fortunate. We have the musicians, we have the volunteers. God has just really opened up the doors. I got to tell you, we have a network of churches that we're a part of that funded this.
That's right.
And really, from the sale of a church that didn't make it, they took that, they reinvested that into the kingdom, and all of a sudden, day one, we see 180 folks worshiping together. And golly, what beautiful affirmation it is to just see this unfold. You know, when we were in the Kroger parking lot, just meeting people, we found out that about 1 out of 3 to 1 out of 4 people were new to the community.
Brand new. I just moved here. That's what they kept saying.
And about 1 out of 4 said, I'm actually looking for a church. So,
just more affirmation there.
Again, we're not taking people from their existing church. We're just there to meet people where they are, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very, like you said, affirmation has been the biggest word. And when we were there at Kroger that day, just repeatedly people saying, oh, I'm looking for a church.
Yeah.
I'm new to the area. Yeah, that was really, really cool.
You know, neither one of us have ever launched a new church. We've gone to a new church or whatever, and we've studied a lot about it. We've gone to other churches that have done it. We're really excited to kind of be leading our network of churches in this. But we really poured out a lot for that first day. And like I said, there were a lot of good things happening. But you shared an anecdote with me that I think was absolutely appropriate. Tell everybody what that was.
Yeah, I said I'm a runner. I really enjoy running long distances.
And I don't.
Yeah, that's okay. But what I said was I felt like the launch Sunday felt like the first full marathon that I did. There's so much training and there's so much preparation. And of course you have a goal in mind. I had a time that I wanted to run 26.2 miles in, which saying out loud now sounds crazy. Like, I should just wanted to finish, right? Not to die should have been the goal.
I would have died, but you made it. Yeah.
I did, and I didn't make my time. And so it was like this overwhelming feeling of, oh, I'm so happy. I got the medal to prove I did it. It's done. All the training paid off. But at the same time, Sunday felt like there's still so much work to do. There's still more goals. There's still more people in this community that we know are new, that don't have a church. There's still more kids, more families, more youth. The gospel, the gospel finish line is so much farther still.
Yeah. And you know, I think Sunday was great. We had beautiful music. The sermon was but you know, you walk away from that and saying, Lord, I just feel this isn't the finish line, it's the starting line.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we've got, hey, good news is, one air conditioner went out on us Sunday morning, it's fixed.
It's fixed, yeah.
We had a video problem, it's fixed.
It's fixed.
And we're really looking forward to week 2.
Absolutely.
And really, it's a great group of people. It was a great time, and I really think that, again, we want to be a blessing to Gallatin. That's why we're here. And I believe God's going to do something really cool.
One more thing before we go, I wanted to kind of shed a little bit of light on some of my friends, family, and I know several at the church, our elders and people